How was it for you, this living below the line, Jay?
There were a few things that I really learnt from it. One was how much we needed to plan, and the fact that 3 of us doing it together and buying 15 quid's worth of food meant that we got far more variety. But even with the variety, the other thing I learnt was that it was boring. You know, loads of carbohydrates, which meant that I was never hungry, which was the good thing, but you know, I really missed the variety.
Yeah, it did put it in perspective from that point of view. You're right, it putting the lot together. It was all those thought processes, it was the planning, it was the having to be planned in your cooking, it was having to know that you were going to have to soak the pulses, and if you forgot anything, that was it. You were hungry.
Yes, yeah. I think the other thing that I really learnt from it was that if you buy well, and you buy real food, your money goes a lot further.
Define real food then.
And real food, I think, is the stuff that you can buy around the perimeter of the supermarket.
Right.
So, fruit and veg, meat, bakery, all sits around the perimeter. If you go into the centre of the supermarket, where there's aisles of things with more than one product on the label, you know, or more than one ingredient on the label, it's suddenly not real, and you're paying for somebody else's time to process it.
Right, we knocked a few things out as well, didn't we? There was hardly any fruit apart from bananas. There was a lot of things we would normally eat, like porridge, but that kept us going with the bananas. There was no dairy because that was too expensive.
Yep.
What else did we miss out on?
No bread.
No bread.
We made our wonderful flatbreads.
Yeah, flatbreads.
You made some wonderful flatbread. I failed on my flatbread.
Flatbreads were not easy, but there were so many different recipes, but everywhere in the world has flatbreads. If you think about it, pita, the Indian breads, and everywhere in the world has the street flatbread. So we tried to do the same. Apart from us in the UK.
We have Mother's Pride.
Well, that's fairly flat.
Other awful white sliced loaves are available.
To some people. But that was the problem, wasn't it? Was trying to think of things that we'd never cooked before to try to be like living below the line.
I think the other thing that really pleased me was that I didn't have to resort to scavenging and picking stuff from the hedgerows, with the one exception that with my roast chicken dinner, I had the sort of baby tops and the very young leaves of rape, which I did steal mine out of a field, but it tasted like sort of very nice young spinach. It was great.
As you can imagine, being the BS part of Old Bull and Bush, I didn't do much foraging, but sticking to what we did and getting some meat in there, I was amazed we could get meat in it. So looking at the positives, we had some chicken and chicken liver pate.
Yep. The chicken wasn't happy, was it?
That £1.69 for enough of 4 days out of the 5. I'm guessing it wasn't organic.
But the chicken liver,
which we both made into pate,
was an absolutely fantastic buy. 50p, and that did me for 3 lunches once I'd made it into a pate. So I thought that was a really, really good buy, and I thoroughly enjoyed that bit.
Yes, and they'd just been reduced as we went past. So that was just one of those serendipitous things that does happen when you're shopping too.
Yep.
So £1 a day, Jay, could you do it long term?
I think I probably could do it long term if I had to. Whether I'd want to and whether I'd enjoy it is a different matter. I'd just have to reprogram myself to not want the variety. But if I had to live on £1 a day, it's possible. You can eat well. You wouldn't necessarily be hungry. I think I obviously, in some ways, probably ate better because I actually ended up losing a bit of weight. But without being hungry. That's
probably the lack of rioja, but we'll go into that another time. But the huge positive was the food was quite good.
Yep.
And it was pretty simple cooking from scratch, so very positive from a body point of view. And it is quite possible to do without being hungry. I think that's amazing.